Welcome to this presentation about the MA in Maritime History at the University of Plymouth. My name is Dr. Elaine Murphy and I'm Associate Professor of Maritime History at the University of Plymouth, and I'm one of the teaching team who will teach you on the MA in Maritime History. So to begin with, I'd like to tell you a bit about some of the key features of our MA in Maritime History. And one of the great things about the MA in Maritime History at the University of Plymouth is actually Plymouth itself. Plymouth is Britain's ocean city. There's a huge range of maritime and naval history in this city, stretching from 1500 to the present day. And as a student on this course, you'll have an opportunity to engage with the city's unique maritime history and heritage. You'll be able to do this by studying courses that stretch from 1500 to the present day. As a student on the MA Maritime History, you will have some core skills courses that will equip you with the skills and methodologies to tackle your own interests in maritime history, but we also offer a range of modules that you can choose from so you can delve into the areas that interest you. Another great strength of our programme is the team who will teach you. We're all world-leading experts in maritime history, and we're here to help you develop your interests and your expertise. As well as the maritime history community at Plymouth, you'll be part of a much wider and very vibrant postgraduate MA research community. There's a good social scene, and you'll have the opportunity to work with and meet lots of other postgraduates doing research. A real strength of our programme is the high quality library facilities that we can offer students. Our library is one of the best equipped maritime history libraries in the country, and the university subscribes to a wide and varied range of maritime history databases and resources. And you'll also have access to lots of other resources, such as the Box, the new City Museum in Plymouth, which is going to house the Plymouth and West Devon Record Office. So who's going to teach you on this programme? Well, you'll be taught by a range of different experts. The core team that will teach you include myself, and I'm an expert in early modern maritime history, and I have a particular focus on piracy, and my recent work focuses on women and the sea. You'll also have the opportunity to work with Dr. Harry Bennett, Associate Professor of British History, and Harry's an expert on World War II marine organisations and societies, merchant seamen and maritime heritage. He's published extensively on maritime history, and in particular on the history of World War II, which he has numerous books on, and his most recent book is on the Royal Navy in the Age of Austerity. You can also work with Dr. Louis Halewood, who's our Philip Lickinas Lecturer in Maritime History, and Louis is an expert in sea power and 19th and 20th century maritime history, and his particular focus is on the history of the First World War at sea. As well as the three of us, you'll also be taught by other members of the department in areas such as world history, historical skills, and historiography. So you'll really be taught by experts in the field here. So what can you study? If you're a full-time student, you will take 4 modules per year plus your dissertation. As a part-time student, in your first year, you will do the 2 core modules, and then in your second year, you will work on the optional modules and your dissertation. The dissertation is an independent piece of research, and you work with a supervisor, and you complete this in semester 3, which is over the summer. So as you can see here, in semester 1, you have a core module on key debates and research methods in history. And in semester 2, you have a very focused research skills in maritime history module that we've called All at Sea. We should probably have called it All Aboard, but we kind of liked All at Sea. Then you have a choice of optional modules each semester, and basically you pick one of these, whichever interests you the most. So you might like piracy, maritime explorations, or an independent research project. The independent research project lets you explore some areas that interest you in greater depth that possibly aren't offered in one of our options. So for example, if you were interested in something about the Navy in the Age of Sail, you could do an independent project on this topic. In the second semester, you can pick between sea power and history or the Anglo-American maritime relations. And again, you can do an independent project there as well. So as you can see, there's lots of choice and great depth in what we offer on this programme. So to give you a bit more detail and a bit of sense of what you can do, I'd like to focus on some of the modules. All at Sea is our research skills in maritime history. And this is the module that's going to equip you with the skills that you need to succeed as a maritime historian. So we'll teach you about the different types of maritime archives and resources that exist. So this will be local archives, national and international archives, online maritime resources, how they're produced, the problems inherent in them, doing oral history as a maritime historian, interviewing seafarers and naval personnel, and also how to use visual sources as a maritime historian. And these will range from photographs, films, documentaries, and also things like maps and cartographic resources, which are very important to maritime history. We'll also think about in this module how we preserve and memorialise maritime history, and this is where Plymouth, with its rich maritime heritage and memorials, is a real asset and something that you can really get to grips with. How will we do this? Well, this module will really be taught with a project focus. Each year, the Maritime History team will bring a range of projects to the module that cover a range of different time periods and topics, and you'll be able to dip into the areas and themes that interest you the most in this module, and you'll be really set up with the core skills that you need. Another module that we'd like to focus on here is Sea Power and History. And in this module, we really start back in the ancient world and we take you through the idea of sea power into the 20th and indeed the 21st century. So we start off by thinking about key thinkers and theories such as A.T. Mahan, J.S. Corbett, and then we move on to look at things like warfare at sea in the ancient world and in the age of sail. We think about international law and the sea, the French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars, navies in the 19th century, the advent of steam and new technologies, the world wars, the First and Second World War, and moving through to the Cold War and its aftermath. So as you can see, this module gives you a really broad but in-depth chronological approach to a complex and important topic for all maritime historians to know more about. And then to finish with our final module and focus, this is the MA dissertation. And this is really the capstone of your MA. This is where you bring everything you've learned together. So the skills you've acquired in your core modules and your research interests will really be showcased in this module. How do you decide on a dissertation? Well, that's easy. You pick a topic that interests you, and then you work with one of the history team to shape your project, to devise it and to develop it into something that really interests you. What can you pick from? Well, pretty much anything you want from 1500 onwards, and we encourage students to look at local, national and international maritime topics, and we have experts who can supervise in all of these areas. So perhaps you're interested in Plymouth's maritime history, piracy, Sir Francis Drake. Maybe you want to think broader, maybe you want to think about the Mayflower, maybe you want to think about World War II and the Navy. Or international, maybe you're interested in exploration or Japanese or Chinese maritime history. These are all the topics that we've supervised in recent years and that you can study for a dissertation with us. As well as the broad topics you can study, you can use a range of methodologies. Perhaps you're going to be an empirical historian and go into the archives and work through a lot of documents. Or maybe you're going to want to go out there and get your hands dirty doing oral history, interviewing modern seafarers and naval personnel about their stories. Maybe you're going to want to do visual history to look at how the past is portrayed in film, in visual methods, or perhaps historic maps of the sea. Or maybe you're going to want to delve into maritime heritage, looking at how maritime and naval history is remembered, how memorials are erected, who is celebrated and who's forgotten. As you can see, the scope for what you can do here is in many respects endless, and we encourage our students to think outside the box. And every year our students produce some truly amazing maritime history dissertations at undergraduate and postgraduate level. The dissertation is 15,000 to 20,000 words long, and I think we can say that we're humbled and proud every year of the really high calibre of maritime history dissertations that our students present each year. Another key aspect of why you should consider an MA in Maritime History with the University of Plymouth is what else we can offer you as a student. As I've already mentioned, we have an excellent library that is really well stocked with key books and journals, primary sources that will be key for your dissertation and your research as a maritime historian. And we have lots of other local resources such as the Devonport Naval Heritage Centre, the Box, and various other resources on our doorstep that you can utilise. Over the course of the year, we offer a range of maritime history field trips. In recent years, we've been to the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich, where we've had a curator take us around the museum, getting behind the scenes, and also with archivists in the Caird Library. We've been to the Cutty Sark, we've been to HMS Belfast, the Portsmouth Historic Dockyard to see the Mary Rose and HMS Victory, HMS Belfast, Britannia Royal Naval College, and Devonport Naval Heritage Centre. And this is just a few of the field trip opportunities that we have offered in recent years. As a student on this programme, you'll be able to go on these field trips. You'll also have the opportunity to participate in local field trips around sites of maritime interest in Plymouth City itself. Plymouth itself is one of the great attractions of this programme. You'll be able to utilise the city, see what it has to offer, and explore a lot of the things we're going to see in these courses on the ground. When you think about a module on something like exploration, think about how many voyages of discovery went out from Plymouth or came back to Plymouth. When we think about science and exploration, think of Charles Darwin and think of modern Antarctic expeditions. Again, Plymouth is one of the great naval bases in Western Europe, so very relevant to sea power and our Anglo-American history module. Or, of course, when we think of piracy, we think of Sir Francis Drake and people like Henry Avery, pirates with very strong Plymouth connections. So this programme will make use of the best of our history, which will really give you a chance to immerse yourself in it. As well as the bespoke maritime resources we can offer, Plymouth University is really well equipped to support your studies and your excellence as a student. We have a writing cafe which will help all students to develop their writing skills. We have learning development resources. We have a very good careers service. So as a student, you'll have an opportunity to utilise these wider resources. If you'd like more information about the programme, you can get in touch with me. As I said, my name's Elaine Murphy and my email's on the screen. You can also click on the link where you can find out more information about our specific modules, details of the dissertation, and other aspects of the programme. For specific admissions inquiries, we're happy to consider applicants from a range of disciplines and backgrounds for this programme, so you don't just have to have a history undergraduate degree. So get in touch and we can discuss your background and interests. Details of the fees, the postgraduate loans that you may be eligible for, and an alumni discount of 20% that you may also be eligible for can also be found on our website. So thank you very much for taking the time to have a look through these slides, and please do get in touch if you've any queries. Thank you.